You can go ahead, Arnie.
Great, thank you, Joanne, and welcome everyone to the June 5th, 2024 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. We will open with the roll call. Mr. Chiocchio.
Here.
Ms. Hofstetter.
Here.
Mr. Sylvain.
Here.
Mr. Haas.
Here.
Ms. Wallace is absent, and Chairman Finaldi is here. We do not need to seat alternates this evening. Thank you for that. Next thing I will do is read the virtual meeting introduction. This meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though this meeting is a virtual meeting, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. You can participate via Zoom and see the audio and the video, or you can call in by phone and participate via audio only. Please be aware that we may have to mute your microphone or telephone in order to avoid an echo or some other background noise. Instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website, and all of the documents and materials that apply to the matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. As always, if you have any questions regarding how to participate in the meeting, please contact the City of Danbury Planning and Zoning Department. As a reminder, the entire meeting will be posted on and can be seen on the City of Danbury website. We will follow the posted agenda as per standard practice. If prior to the meeting, any questions or comments on agenda items were submitted via email to the Planning and Zoning Department, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. Finally, please remember that technology glitches do sometimes occur. Please be patient if that happens. The next item on our agenda is acceptance of the minutes, May 15th, 2024. The minutes have been distributed. Unless commission members, unless there's any discussion or corrections on those minutes, I'll entertain a motion to accept them.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hofstetter, seconded by Mr. Chiocchio. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Looking forward, I know that the agenda says the next regular meeting is scheduled for July 17th, 2024. Couple of things. Our second meeting in June 19th, is canceled because that is a holiday. And we do have a couple of matters. They're not huge public hearings. They're really just two referrals, but we have to get those done prior to July 17th of 24. So I think we're going to have a special meeting at some point in June just to address those two referrals. Now, we don't have the date yet. We'll, again, as we always do, email everybody and make sure we can have a quorum. But I just wanted to make everybody aware that our second meeting in June is canceled. It's a holiday. We do have to put together a special meeting, should be short, for two referrals.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I didn't schedule one for the 3rd, so there is nothing scheduled for July 3rd.
Right.
We have to schedule a special meeting because I didn't schedule that one because I just assumed that you wouldn't want to come that night.
Yes, thank you, Joanne. So I neglected to mention that the reason we're going to July 17th is because we don't want to have a meeting on July 3rd. Most people have plans for the holiday. So long story short, you will be hearing from Joanne or Jennifer to schedule a special meeting sometime in June. Stay tuned. Okay, we're going to proceed to our first public hearing this evening. Get the legal notice on. Excuse me for a second. Midwestern Connecticut Council of Alcoholism, Inc. Application for special exception. Revised site plan approval for expansion of existing dependency treatment center, section 5B2B11 in the CA80 zone, 38 Old Ridgebury Road, C16024. Special exception 799. I will read the legal notice. Legal notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission of the City of Danbury will hold a public hearing commencing at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, June 5th, in a web-based meeting hosted on Zoom to consider the following matter. Midwestern Connecticut Council of Alcoholism, Inc. application for special exception or by site plan approval for expansion of existing dependency treatment center, section 5B, 2B11, in the CA80 zone, 38 Old Ridgeberry Road, C16024, special exception 799. A copy of this application is on file in the Planning and Zoning Office for public inspection. Parties and interested citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard at this time. Agenda to be posted will include instructions on how to access the Zoom meeting and application materials and view the meeting in real time on YouTube. Arnold DiFinaldi Jr., Chairman, posted it on city website and town clerk's office on May 21st, 2024, published in the News Times on May 24th and May 31st, 2024, purchase order number 2024-8. With that said, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application?
Mr. Chairman, for the record, Neil Marcus, Conan Wolf PC at 158 Deer Hill Avenue in Danbury. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the Midwestern Council, and I'm joined by Mike Mizuko on the screen. And I'm going to actually turn this over to him. This is an application to add a two-story addition to the existing facility that MCCA has been occupying for a number of years out on Ridgeberry Road. And the staff report, hopefully a lot of you have read that, because actually I will tell you that it analyzes briefly the history of the site going back to when it was originally constructed as an office building and then taken over. Originally it was LK Comstock, but then it was taken over as a facility for MCCA a number of years ago, and the zone was changed from IL40 to CA80, and the use of the treatment facility, the Dependency Treatment Center, is allowed, as pointed out in the staff report, for that particular site. So having said that, without wasting a lot of time, since the real question here is a review of the plan, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and I will be in and out of this meeting because I'm actually attending the new Fairfield Zoning Commission meeting, which is simultaneously with this. But depending on when my matter is reached, I may have to leave you and come back. But for the moment, I'm going to turn it over to Mike.
Thank you, Attorney Marcus.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. For the record, Mike Mizuko, representing Midwestern Council of Alcoholism. Here tonight, too, is John Duramo. He is the president and CEO. And also on board tonight is Ken Morrison from, he's the architect on the project. And if I can share the screen, I'll just kind of walk you through the proposal. Everybody seeing that?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So you can see this is the survey map prepared by New England Land Surveying. And here is the main original building, which is the treatment facility. In the back here is Sunrise Terrace. And those are the transitional living quarters for 17 residents. And that was approved, and I think it was built in 2006. So you can see the proposal is to expand about a 5,000 square foot footprint on the southern side. Oops, sorry about that. Southern side of the building. It would also entail expansion of the parking lot, which is in this area here. And the slight modification of this area back here, which is where the loading area is. There's parking spaces here. It doesn't lend well for a vehicle to pull in and back up and utilize that loading dock very well. So we removed 3 of those spaces and put an island back there just to make that more conducive and easier for trucks to get in and out of. The curb cuts are going to remain the same. We're not touching any of the curb cuts. The site is served by municipal water and sewer. The original, we were trying to figure out, we couldn't understand why the elevation of the building was at where it was, and we couldn't figure out that there was no way that the building could be gravity fed out to the sewer on Ridgeberry Road. And then we figured it out that there was the piece to the north was joined to this, and they ran the sewer through that property, gravity. And we are proposing to service the addition with a pump station that will bring sewage up to Old Ridgeberry Road, because we can't get through the slab into that existing service line that comes into the building on the other end. According to what I could tell, there was no stormwater management on the original building. They did do stormwater management for the Sunrise Terrace additions. And so we are doing stormwater management. We have a Barracuda, it's like a swirl concentrator, oil separator that we're proposing, because this is on the Kenosha watershed, Kenosha Lake watershed. And we did do an environmental analysis that was submitted as part of the application, which is required. And so I'll just walk you through this is just more of detail. This is the lighting plan, the lighting intensity information. We just added some post lights and then some smaller pole lights, and then some post lights for lighting, as well as there'll be some building mounted lighting. Just standard details. There's the pump station. There's that Barracuda unit there, that swirl concentrator. And then we also did the A2 Land Consulting did a planting plan, and it's a pretty robust planting plan around that corner of the intersection, which screens in the addition quite well. And just I'll show you, there's two renderings. So this is looking at the addition from Larson Drive here. You see it kind of blends in really well with the existing building. And then this is the view from Old Ridgeberry. This is the existing building here, and then the additions over here. And then this, a little hard to see, but this is the expansion of the parking lot that we're proposing. This here is all existing, and we're not touching that. These are floor plans that were also submitted. Just depicts a general layout for the two floors. So similar to the existing building, there's a lower level because of the grade difference, and then an upper level. That's just a drainage report, the environmental analysis, which I spoke about. And then there was just a sort of a narrative of the operations existing and proposed, which is part of the it was part of the application with an analysis of the traffic generation. It's not a huge traffic generator. And yeah, this is just the special exception application, I think, deed, adjoiners, the watershed aquifer notification that we did to the state. That's about it. So I think I pretty much covered everything. So these are the area maps, so you can see that sorry, I'm not used to working as quickly on PDF reader as I am with AutoCAD, but you can see Lake Kenosha's here, and this line is the limits of the watershed. So that, and then this is just a sort of an area map. The soils map, flood map, obviously we're up pretty high. There's no issue with any flood zones. And then there's kind of just an aerial view of the site and surrounding areas. So I think that's about it. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And I know John and Ken are on board too. If you have any specific questions of them, they'd be more than happy to answer them.
Commission members, any questions for Mr. Mizuko at this time? Okay, I guess not any. I'm sorry, Mr. Kyokyo, go right ahead.
Or just a couple of quick questions. The access to the additional building is going to be through the main building. Is that primary access to it?
It will be, there'll be access, exterior access into the addition. And let me just go to those. So you'll have access here. This is downstairs. And then you'll have a door outside here and access here. The rest of this, you're starting to come up below grade here.
Yep, okay.
Okay. And then above that, there's that tree that's out front. You'll have an entry here. This will be connecting into the existing space. And then there'll be another door here. So, and then the rest of this will be, above grade in the back. So no access there.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. And so are there going to be different operations in the addition, the wing, the new wing there, or is it going to be pretty much all the same operations as currently exist?
I think maybe John can weigh in on that, but I think it's just more an expansion of the similar operations that they have right now.
Hi, yeah, so our lower level of the building, we have our detox program and our rehab program. This addition is going to be an additional 14 rehab beds. So it's lower intensity, not as high intensity as a detox, but 14 more beds for rehabilitation.
Okay. Thank you.
And
You're
again,
welcome.
just if I might follow up on that question. So the services, the types of services currently provided by MCCA will not change. You're just going to do more of it by virtue of this addition, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, more rehabilitation services. Yes.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, well, short and sweet. And yes, again, as Attorney Marcus pointed out, we had a very thorough staff report. Thank you, Jennifer, for that. Answered a lot of questions. I don't believe we can close this public hearing this evening. Ally, who are we waiting for? What reports are we waiting for on this?
Yes, we're still waiting for traffic and engineering.
Okay, so we can't close until we get those. That's fine. All right, commission members, unless there's any other questions for the applicant, I'll entertain a motion to continue this matter until our next meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to continue to the next meeting.
Second.
Motion has been made and second to continue this public hearing till our next meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mike, Neil. We will continue at our next meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Okay. Let's keep going. You will note on the agenda, there is nothing under continuation of public hearings. So we'll go right to the first referral, which is an 8-3A. I'm sorry, there's nothing under old business either. So we'll go right to the first referral, which is an 8-3A. Petition of Robert D. Oliveira, Joe's Hill Road, B13004 for change of zone from RA80, RA40 to RA40. The zoning commission public hearing is scheduled for June 11th, 2024. Jennifer, will you be handling this one or would it be Ally?
No, I'm handling, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay.
For the record, Jennifer Eminger, Acting Planning Director. So you have my staff report dated May 30th. So this is, as Arnie had said, a zone change request on Joe's Hill Road. And I included a picture at the bottom of the page, which certainly kind of shows it a lot better than it's harder to describe it actually. So right now the parcel, a majority of the parcels in the RA80, there's a small portion in the RA40. And the smaller of the two is in the RA40 section. The parcel is a little under 3 acres in size. The portion that's in the RA80 is a little over 106,000 square feet, and the RA40 portion is 22,000 and change. So the petitioner is asking to rezone that property to RA40, which would then extend it towards the west to that zone line. So RA80 to the left of that, and then RA40 all the way down to Mill Plain Road. So the actual size of the actual zone change per what would be on the map if approved is 2.65 acres, which also includes the right of way of Joe's Hill Road as per 3B3 of the zoning regs. As you can see on that map, the blue is the RA80, the yellow is the RA40. Rezoning would allow changes in use on the lot for any use allowed in the RA40. And for purposes of residential density comparison, a rezoning to RA40 would allow, if subdivided, 3 dwelling units compared to 1 dwelling unit under the RA80/40 zoning district. If a subdivision was contemplated under the current zoning designations, the portion of the lot in the RA40 would not count towards a density calculation. It's my understanding the applicant has noted in its petition that they only wish 2 lots, so they're entitled to what we call a free split or a first cut. If they go, and that would give them 2 lots. If he decides to go above that, then that's 3 lots, and that's a subdivision before the Planning Commission. With respect to the POCD, the future land use map designates this area as appropriate for rural residential, and that category talks about single-family homes on medium to large lots. We would consider the RA 40 to be a medium-sized lot in comparison. So it would comply with the POCD. With respect to the zone change criteria, again, you know, it meets the FLUM, the future land use map. And it meets the criteria outlined as I've noted. In conclusion, staff doesn't object. Again, you're going from one lot to, again, the intent is 2 lots, but if he goes to 3, it's 3 lots. It's a subdivision. Staff has no objection to this. Any questions?
Questions for Jennifer, commission members?
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Kyokyo.
I just have one question for curiosity. When you're looking at your little insert map there, the blue
Yep.
and yellow, the lot to the left, the blue lot right there,
Yep.
next to there, do you know what size that lot is by any chance?
Well, that's going to be an 80,000, so it's at least 2 acres.
So it's minimum 2 acres because it's RA 80.
Correct.
Okay.
And that lot, I believe, is part of, I think it was part of the Mariana Farms subdivision.
Okay. Got it. Thank
So-
you.
So Jen, this referral isn't really a huge, you know, deal here. I mean, currently the lot is bisected. You have one lot in 2 different zones, so we're straightening out a zone line, which we try to do when we can. We typically don't like one lot in 2 different zones. And like you said, I mean, he gets the free split or the first cut, so he could have 2 lots and build 2 houses, and again, with 1 acre zoning. Or if he comes in for a subdivision, he could go for 3 lots. But that's
Correct.
That's it. That's the whole thing,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Any other questions for Jennifer? Anybody? If not,
I
yes,
got
go ahead,
one.
Kev. Go ahead, Kev.
The lot directly across the street is pretty much the same size. It's 2.8 maybe.
Which one? The one in the blue or the one in the yellow?
The one in, I gotta get back to it, the blue.
Yes. That looks a lot larger than 2 acres, but again, it's in,
I think
It's
it's
a minimum of
2.8
2
or
acres.
something. I was just looking. So
okay.
we'd have a hard time saying no to them if we were to approve this, other than what Arnie just said. That lot would be easily splittable too for a free split.
It's hard to tell, based off of, again, 2 acre, you would need, maybe. It's hard to tell because you still need to meet setbacks. The benefit of a vacant parcel is you just have to provide the minimum square. With respect to something that already has a house, that house has to meet setback requirements, minimum square. You have to be able to you have to place the minimum square, which is the development box.
Yep.
Within, and looks like an odd shaped lot. So maybe. It's hard to tell.
We'll give you a definite maybe on that one, Kev.
I just wanted to throw it out there as a possibility for someone
Yeah.
coming in right across the street there. With the way the house is positioned on that lot, there is room
Possibly.
to the lower side, because it's a little farm lot.
Yeah.
The solar panels and other stuff, that lower section could be split right off.
Again, possibly, without having any survey information or topo
Yep.
or, lot frontage.
Any other questions for Jennifer? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion, commission members, for a positive referral, negative referral, whatever your pleasure is. Anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for a positive referral on this.
Thank you, Mr. Sylvain. Motion made for a positive referral. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Haas. Any more questions? Hearing none. All in favor of a positive referral, please say aye.
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 Opposed? This matter gets a positive referral from planning. We will move to our second 838 referral. Attorney Neil, 838 referral rather, petition of Attorney Neil R. Marcus for O'Connor Management LLC to add section 682A6 to the zoning regs, add business or professional office for delivery of rental and or leased automobiles and trucks. Zoning Commission public hearing scheduled for June 11th, 2024. Jennifer.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So again, you have this petition, you have my staff report dated June 3rd before you. And so this petition is a text amendment to the IL 40 district. And this would allow as permitted use number 6, the business or professional office for the delivery of rental and or leased automobiles and trucks. So pursuant to section 682B13, which is the special exception section under the IL 40 district, the sale or rental of automobiles and trucks is already allowed as a special exception in the IL 40 district. And there are, and I've listed them, there are additional specific use regulations in 6A5G that pertain to distance, lot frontage, minimum lot size, you have to be on a collector arterial, those type of requirements. I've also gone through a bit at length, but I wanted to provide some context, and I think everyone on the commission has been, was here for the previous 2 text amendments. You'd received them as referrals from the Zoning Commission. So the Zoning Commission approved 2 text amendments to allow limited auto sales in the IL 40 district. The new use intended to allow new and used sales and rentals of automobiles and trucks on a very limited basis. Historically, we have always considered the sale and rental of automobiles to be a commercial/retail use. When this text amendment came in, I think it was 2020, it was certainly during COVID. It's what we call the Curry Amendment. Curry Automotive had submitted the petition, Mercedes. And when they first came in, staff had comments that we had concerns relative to the introduction of sales. And, previous staff reports had said it opens the door slightly, and that's a quote, opens the door slightly. It was language that Sharon had used in her staff report to allowing retail sales in the IL 40 zone. The introduction of the sales and rental of automobiles and trucks was met with reserved support, with noted concerns about introducing such a use. However, staff identified the limited applicability within that district in the implementation of those additional restrictions, which then provided assurances that the introduction was on a very limited basis and it was deemed acceptable to the department. Ultimately, the Zoning Commission also determined that the introduction of the use with those specific use restrictions was appropriate and provided the required zoning controls over a use that had historically, again, not been allowed in the IL 40 zoning district. Additional protections were deemed appropriate to control the proliferation of retail sales in the IL 40 zone. And again, contrary to the restricted automotive sales used in the IL 40, the CG20 and the CA80 permit the rental of automobiles and trucks as a permitted use without any specific use regulations. And this is where we see most of the existing car rental uses in the city. They're in the CG20 and CA80. So I spoke to the zoning enforcement officer, and we both consider that this proposed use, Again, business or professional office for the delivery of rental and or leased automobiles and trucks. This is the proposed petition to be the same use as what currently exists under use 13, which is sale or rental of automobiles and trucks, albeit identified as a different use. And one can argue that the current use, again, sale or rental of automobiles and trucks, inherently includes an office to conduct the business of the primary use, sale and rental of cars and trucks, and also includes the delivery of such vehicles. Again, this is essentially the same use that's allowed under 13, except it's permitted, and there are no additional use regulations attached to it. The petitioner is just calling it something different. We believe, when I say we, myself and the zoning enforcement officer, believe this is a duplicative use and appears to be an end run around the existing regulations. This is highly problematic, creates confusion within the regulations, and it's not consistent with our zoning scheme. Additionally, the rental and leasing of automobiles and trucks as a permitted by right use is contrary to recent text amendments from the Zoning Commission. As there are no additional use regulations for business or professional office for the delivery of rental or leased automobiles and trucks, the proliferation of this use in the IL zone is of noted concern to staff, and the potential for adding the commercial retail activity has widespread application. The commissions may wish to query if such a proliferation of commercial activity in the IL 40 district is considered orderly or rational, and does it provide an area for expansion of the industrial base in the city? And is the use considered limited and light industrial in nature, as outlined in the purpose and intent of the IL 40 district? The activity associated with the rental or lease of automobiles is a slippery slope, as the leasing of an automobile, whether it's new or used, can be achieved at any auto dealership. The leasing of a motor vehicle is a similar transaction to a sale and requires registration, title, and insurance. One could then query if this allows car dealerships as a permitted use in the IL 40 zone. From a land use perspective, the commissions must consider whether the rental and leasing of automobiles and trucks with such a broad applicability is appropriate in the IL 40 zone. It should be noted that the rental and leasing of motor vehicles is regulated through the DMV and requires a leasing license. The placement of the use under a business category is not appropriate and clearly belongs under the automotive category, which is how it exists today. So again, the language, it's duplicative and it's ambiguous, which we, as you know, avoid at all costs. Compliance with the POCD. The commissions may reasonably conclude that this amendment has wide application within the IL 40 district, and as a result, is not orderly or rational to allow the widespread proliferation of rental and leasing of automobiles and trucks. The zoning commission previously determined that the selling and renting of automobiles and trucks, which activities constitute a retail commercial use to an industrial zone, is in very limited locations with specific regulations, was appropriate. The commissions once again must consider if such a duplicative use permitted by right without any restrictions is appropriate for the IL 40 district. While there are other uses in the IL zone that are not industrial in nature, the commission should consider whether it's appropriate to add this use as proposed. Again, it would not be unreasonable for the commissions to conclude that adding the rental or leasing of automobiles as a permitted use further diminishes the industrial nature of the industrial zone. The future land use map identifies industrial as, actually I provided the definition, I won't go through that. The petition would not result in the loss of industrial zone land, such as a zone change, but it could, again, result in the development of land that is not necessarily considered limited and light industrial, blurs the line between commercial and industrial uses. So in conclusion, the text amendment effectively, and I'm using Sharon's language, swings the door wide open to additional commercial uses and retail sales, and begs the question, where does one stop with automotive sales and other retail sales? Such an allowance effectively allows retail sales in the IL-40 zone. The department queries if such an allowance is desirable and does it further the purpose and intent of expanding the industrial base of the city. Furthermore, use number 13 already allows the sale or rental of automobiles as a special exception use. This proposal, this petition creates confusion within the regulations and is not consistent with our zoning scheme. So for those reasons, staff does not support the petition, and we don't think it's in the best interest of the city. Sorry, I did not mean to read verbatim, but it was hard to summarize, so I felt it better to just read it. So it's a lot. I apologize. If you have any questions, let me know.
Any questions any thoughts for Jen at this time? I just had a couple of thoughts as you were going through this. I guess we should proceed with caution with any application for a zone change or a change to the regs more specifically that represents a use that is contrary to the purpose and intent of the zone. Every zone in Danbury has a purpose and intent. So a couple of weeks ago, we saw the not to bring this up, we saw the application, we had the referral rather for the Crown Plaza in a CA80 zone. The purpose and intent of that zone, which I read at the time, was to provide for general and heavy commercial uses in appropriate locations along major roadways in the city. We now allow permanent residential occupancy in that zone. Not in the purpose and intent. Maybe there was a perfectly good reason, not retrying the case, but still contrary to the purpose and intent of the zone. The purpose and intent of IL-40, according to our regs, is to provide an area for expansion of the industrial base in the city. The uses allowed in this district are of a limited and light industrial nature that, if appropriately developed, can be compatible with abutting commercial and residential uses. So that's why we have an IL-40 zone. We have, as Jennifer mentioned, allowed automobile uses on a limited basis. And well, let me leave that for a second because there's something else I wanted to mention. I also want to mention that we have to proceed with caution when there's any change to the zoning regs that might create ambiguity. I think we're best served by zoning regs that are very clear and very specific. Otherwise, if there's a dispute or any sort of discussion over a given zone, an applicant could say, you know, I shouldn't be penalized for the lack of clarity or ambiguity in your zoning regs. The city of Danbury drafted them, not me. So again, I'm talking the applicant saying this. Don't blame me if the regs aren't clear. So we have to have regs that are clear. And as Jennifer pointed out, you know, it's almost as if what they're asking for already exists. I can't quite get my arms around what is wrong with the way they're currently drafted or the way these uses are currently addressed in the regs and this new application. What's the difference between the two? I can't tell. I've read it a couple of times. So, you know, we have to be careful with, for all the reasons Jennifer pointed out, with, let's see here, with sales and rental of automobiles. We allow them in CG20, we allow them in CA80. on a limited basis, we allow some auto uses in the IL 40. And that's about it. I mean, I can't quite get my arms around what this wording, how it makes us a better city, how it makes the regs more clear, what problem it is solving that exists in our current regs. I can't figure it out. And for that reason, I'm against it because for the reasons I just stated. So anyone else want to jump in on that, or that's just my rambling?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to agree with your assessment there. This proposal is duplicative, as Jennifer has very well pointed out, but it seems to have a lot less restrictions and a lot more, it looks a lot more like a commercial application in an industrial zone. And we do have to be careful with, like you said, muddying the waters with, we should be very clear with the regulations such that we don't have duplicate but renamed, applications and zoning that wind up being zoning changes. So for that reason, and thank you, Jennifer, for that comprehensive report. I'm agreeing with with you. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Helen. Anyone else want to? You don't have to, but anyone else have any comments or thoughts on this? Well, hearing none, we have to have a motion for a positive or negative referral.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that you're stating your reasons and whether it's consistent with the POCD. Just get those reasons on the record so Joanne can add it to the referral back to the zoning commission.
I know it's not. Let me see here. I'm trying to look at forgive me, I have to look at my notes. I do not. I don't want to I don't want to reread your whole report again. Hold on. I don't believe it's consistent with the POCD or FLUM. As always, the plan of commission to be consistent with the POCD. Zoning commission might finding relevant consistency amendments. Yeah, it's not clear because again, you said the zoning commission might state that its findings relative to consistency of the amendments with the POCD, such amendments will not impact the negative health, safety, and welfare. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's not totally clear that it is or is not compatible with the POCD. I don't believe it's compatible with the FLUM. Am I getting that wrong, Jennifer? Where am I? I must be looking at your report the wrong place here. The FLUM identified.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
No, you go.
So, and I'm also going through my staff report seeing where you could pull it from. That second paragraph under compliance with the POCD, the commissions may reasonably conclude that this amendment has wide application within the IL 40 district and as a result is not orderly or rational to allow the widespread proliferation. I think that's what you might be looking for. Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I agree with that paragraph. I haven't reconciled that specifically with the wording in the POCD. So,
yeah.
But you could conclude it's based on that. You could conclude it's not agreeable with the POCD. You could, and I do not believe that it's in conformance with the future land use map, the FLUM. So I'll add that to my comments.
Okay, thank you.
Commission members, anyone want to make a motion for positive or negative?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for negative referral on this based on that paragraph 2 and also another piece of information stated in the report. Based on the above, it would not be unreasonable for the commission to conclude that adding the rental and or leasing of automobiles and trucks to the IR IL 40 zone as a permitted use with no additional use regulation further diminishes the industrial nature of the industrial zone, which I think is clear. If, you know, so if we can use those two paragraphs, I would like to make a motion for a negative referral using those two paragraphs as the reason why.
Okay, and let's just add, Helen, something you said earlier, which is the language is ambiguous and duplicative as well.
And that too, that's
That is-
good. Yes.
Okay. Okay, a motion has been made for a negative referral. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sylvain. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of a negative referral, please say aye.
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 Opposed? This matter gets a negative, this A3A referral gets a negative vote, negative referral. Okay. Are we doing this one tonight, Jennifer?
The 824 referral, yes. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, we're not doing the 83A referral.
For the poultry as house pets? We're not doing that.
Correct. We will be doing that at the July 17th meeting.
Okay. Something for everybody to look forward to, an A3A referral on adding poultry as house pets. I haven't read that one yet. That one should be good. Okay. All right.
Interesting.
I'm sure there's some easy jokes there. Let's let them go. Let's let that go. There's nothing under new business or correspondence. Under other matters for discussion and possible action, discussion on amending the planning commission bylaws to change.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, you skipped number
Number
4.
4.
Oh,
The 824 referral.
oh boy.
It was an that was an add-on yesterday.
Yes. Okay. You see what happened? I printed the wrong.
Oh,
I go off paper here. You see, that's my problem. Give me a second. You know, I got the report here somewhere. There we go. This is a 824 referral from City Council to Planning Commission, disposition of city property, Payneham Hose Company, 17 North Street. Jennifer, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. City Council received a request from Chief Richard Thode, who's the fire chief, to consider the disposition of city-owned land located at 17 North Street, identified as the Payneham Hose Company. The parcel is tiny, a little over 3,000 square feet, and the 2-story brick building is 2,500 square feet, which means that it's, you know, the coverage is like 95%. So it has limited frontage, limited everything. It's basically all building. The property has been decommissioned as the Payneham Hose Company, which merged into the newly formed Battalion 31. The building is currently vacant. It was used during COVID, and then once COVID was over, the building had no use anymore, so it's vacant and in disrepair. The property is located in the CG20 zone. An ad hoc committee convened last month, in which it was recommended that the property be declared a surplus. At last night's council meeting, they voted, subject to a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission, to schedule a public hearing for said disposition. Again, there's a process. So that has not been scheduled yet. They're waiting for the commission's recommendation. The sale of this parcel for redevelopment provides an opportunity for the city to return the land to the tax rolls and capitalize on current development momentum in the city. For these reasons, staff has no objection to the sale of the property in the manner so authorized by City Council.
Questions
Pretty
for Jennifer?
straightforward.
You guys remember this firehouse? The guys used for decades, they sat out in front in folding chairs. The cars would all drive by. When I was a kid growing up, I remember seeing this going on forever. I didn't even know the place was empty and in disrepair. I haven't been by there in a while. Any questions for Jennifer? Anybody? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for a positive referral.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for a positive referral.
Thank you, Bob. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Hofstadter. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll try your minds. All in favor of a positive referral, please say aye.
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 Opposed? This matter gets a positive referral. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
As Jennifer mentioned, the A3A referral on the amendment to the zoning regs to add poultry as household pets, we will entertain that one at our next meeting. Nothing under new business or correspondence, so we'll go right to other matters for discussion and possible action. Discussion on amending the planning commission bylaws to change the starting time of the regular meetings to 7 p.m. What's everybody think about that? You'll miss
How does
Jeopardy.
staff feel about it?
Well, I will tell you, the planning commission is one of the last commissions that start at 7:30. Other than city council, but ZBA, EIC, and the zoning commission last month started their meetings at 7 o'clock. So for us, it doesn't really, it's the commission's decision.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
there's a procedure that the zoning commission followed. What they did was they discussed it, and since they all were interested in it, I then printed out a revised bylaws for them, changing the time. And then at the next meeting, I sent it to them, they had it, and at the next meeting, they voted on it, and then made it effective on a certain meeting date. And then after that, so you don't have to vote tonight, you just have to decide if you want to do this or not.
Not that much goes on with me between 7 and 7:30. I don't see it as a big deal. I would just assume start a half hour earlier and get done a little earlier. But I think if you really enjoy watching Jeopardy at 7 o'clock, then that could be an issue. Does anyone really have any objection, any thoughts? Feel strongly that 7:30 is a better time than 7? Anybody?
Mr. Chairman,
Al.
I don't know if this is ever going to get entertained, but if we ever meet in person and it's winter time, it might be to our advantage to make it 7, but I'm just pointing it out as a possibility with respect to the weather and, when it gets dark and that kind of thing. Other than that, I could go either way, but if everybody else is, I don't know, maybe it's better to move it. I don't know. Yeah.
Perry, go ahead.
Doesn't make much difference to me, but I guess I would lean the same way you would towards a little earlier start, a little earlier finish.
I would agree. I would lean more towards starting earlier than not, but I'm fine either way.
I agree too. I feel like I'm usually waiting around.
Yeah.
So
Good.
is that considered guidance, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes,
Guidance.
we will start that process that Joanne talked about.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
amend the bylaws, get those to you for review, and then not at the special meeting, but at the July 17th meeting, we'll have it on the agenda for a vote. And then at that point, you will have to pick a date, like the zoning commission, they had, I think we had a holiday in between, so we'd set it like a month and a half out. So keep in mind, if we have any public hearings scheduled, we have to make sure that they're noticed properly and that the time is noticed properly.
Right.
So
Okay.
once we get to the July 17th date, we'll have to, just be cognizant of what's been advertised.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Well, you have your guidance on this issue. And that's good. Okay. Just to say again what I said at the beginning of the meeting, a couple of things. Number one, we will not have a meeting on June 19th. It is a holiday. Number two, we will have to have a special meeting in June. Should be a short one. 2 easy referrals, but we have to have one. Number three, we will not have a meeting on July 3rd because some people are away for the holidays. And then number four, our next regular meeting will be again that third Wednesday rather in July. So everybody got that? I kind of
Yep.
blathered through that at the beginning of the meeting. Just wanted to make sure everybody's clear on that.
Got it.
Okay. Anything else, commission members? Hearing no other matters, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, let's adjourn.
Motion made by Ms. Hosstetter. Do I hear a second? Second, Mr. Sylvain. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.